Okay, so this is a brief evolution of automation tools. I started from the year I come up in the software testing. I started my career in 2010 as a software test engineer, and at that time there were mostly manual testing. The automation testing was just starting at that time, and we had a couple of automation tools. Mainly, the Selenium was the majorly used test automation tool. And then we have another one, HPQTP, which was a paid tool. So those are a couple of tools which are majorly being used at that time. So but for utilizing this Selenium, you must have a developer's like capabilities, because it has uh, quite extensive setup where you have to integrate different drivers and do lots of stuff to set it up. And also there was a quite other coding. You must have a coding experience and different skill set. Usually at that time, the QA persons, they were the ones which don't have greater coding skills, so it was difficult for them to utilize that. And then in 2013, actually, there comes another new concept of continuous testing. Initially, when we were using Selenium or even QTP, we have to run those tests manually. We write those test cases, and whenever there is a new build, we run those manually and then extract their report and present those reports to our leads and the product managers. So that was all the manual process. So in 2013, continuous testing come up, where we come up with the tools like Jenkins. We integrate our Selenium test with Jenkins, and those tests were running on a schedule, or whenever there is a new code in the repo, those tests were triggering automatically, and they were sharing the test report, and everything was done automatically. So that was a big improvement in test automation, where you have the continuous testing without doing anything, and it was working for you. But again, the limitation of Seleniums were already there. The setup, and it's one major thing was for Selenium was also the manual weight. You can't add the dynamic weights. You have to do the manual weights, which were causing lots of issues in scripts as well, and slowing down the scripts as well. So in 2017, Cypress came up with by solving those manual weights and the complex setup issues. So it was a big improvement in test automation. But again, Cypress wasn't a complete tool. Like, it has also its limitation. Like, it only supports the JavaScript, TypeScript languages. It only supports the Chromium browser. It only handles the one specific browser window. So these were some of the limitations with the Cypress. And to solve those limitation, Playwright come into the market. It was 2020 when Playwright was launched, and it solved all those Cypress issues. Like, it supports not only the Chromium browser, but also the Safari and the Firefox as well. And then it also supports, along with JavaScript and TypeScript, Java, C#, and Python. There are multiple languages support available in Playwright as well. And it was a big improvement regarding the speed and execution as well, and multi-window handling. There are different other utilities as well, which were missing in the Cypress. So although most of those issues were solved in Playwright. But again, one major concern for the test automation engineers was the coding knowledge. It was still there. You have to be proficient in coding. You must have a good coding skills to write the automated scripts. That barrier was still there. To solve that barrier, there are different low code and no code platforms which were launched probably in 2021. Some of them were like the Catalan, Testim. These were the tools which were launched in 2021. Sorry, can you please mute yourself? Okay, so in 2021, those low-code platforms emerged in the market. They were very good. You don't need explicit coding knowledge to use those tools, but still they were quite expensive. They were commercial tools. There are hardly any open source tools available with the low code or no code experience. So the cost was one thing, and then they were a bit slow as well handling. And they, although they were a bit of AI touch in those tools, but they lack in context. They generate generic test cases. There were a few context specific issues in those tools. And to solve those issues, the MCP, especially the Playwright MCP, emerged in 2024. That was a big improvement in test automation, where you directly integrate AI with your Playwright tool to that AI has complete context for you. Sorry, I was disconnected for a moment. So I was talking about this Playwright MCP. So it's a game changer. Many people are using it. It instantly generates dozens of test cases, where we have the automatic healing process, test case generation, everything which you want. Even without much development knowledge, you can write dozens of test cases in a day. Previously, when we were using Selenium back in 2010, we it took lots of time in writing the test case. Even for just one screen, it takes a couple of days or even more days to automate a single screen. But now with the MCP, you can completely develop a framework. You can write the complete application test cases within hours, actually. So that's a big improvement in test automation. And one of our test automation engineer, Nabil, he will show us few